Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Chewed Gum. Today is June 9th. It is a Tuesday, of course. And this is Chewed Gum. It's a show about rejecting purity culture, challenging misogyny, and the effects of religious trauma on women. And if you would like to call in, you can call 720-619-2288, which is the number on the screen, or the web link in the description. We have some lines that are open. So if you want to call in and chat, please do. And my name is Alyssa.
And I'm Taylor, and I'm the reason we're 10 minutes late today. Sorry.
Okay, the reason is not you. It's technology naturally repels against you.
I'm still just waiting for it to not work, but we'll see. It's working for now.
We'll cross our fingers. How are you doing today? Actually, I want to talk to you about I saw you made a TikTok about it, and I'm glad you did, because ahead of time, I was like, I wonder if Taylor knows anything about this. The God of War thing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh. So I knew this before I posted it. I told my husband, because my husband watches a lot of YouTube and he's a nerd. And I was like, Brock, I'm gonna make a video about Asmongold, but I know what that means for me. I know that a lot of angry men are gonna come at me, but I did it anyways, and I was correct. They were very, very upset and very mad, but I do not care, because they're the type of people I wouldn't even want to talk to in the first place. So
no.
Yeah, but it's and for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, I'm sure a lot of you have heard of this since you're online, but there's a very famous streamer, YouTuber named Asmongold, and he used to just do, I've never really watched him, but he used to do just video games, and then he started doing political commentary, which he says some of the most vile things you can imagine a political commentator saying. And the new God of War video game is featuring I don't play God of War, so I forget the guy's name, but his wife. It's focused on his wife. And a lot of the guys in the video game community are freaking out, which this literally happens every single time they decide to put a woman in a video game that isn't super, super sexualized.
Yeah.
So, his name is it Kratos? Am I saying that right? Anyways, his wife, she looks gorgeous. She's gorgeous in real life. And then her character, I think, is still gorgeous, but she's not Kratos. Kratos.
Oh no.
Kratos' wife. I'm so sorry. Sorry, Kratos. No, but I think she looks good in the game too, but she's just not overly sexualized. And he
Right.
was so upset about this and was like, who wants to? Oh, he was also upset that it's a woman over the age of like 25. He's like, who wants to play a mom that is in her 40s and whatever, and she's ugly and she has bags under her eyes, and I hate this, and it's just, it's so
Oh
disgusting.
my God.
It's
That is
so,
so crazy. I saw some of the conversation because I saw someone on TikTok talking about how God of War is his favorite game. He loves it so much. He's waited years for an expansion. And when this one came out, he was so thrilled, freaking out, couldn't wait to play. And then he sees the conversation that's happening online and he was like, if you all ruin this for me, I'm going to lose my shit. But
yeah.
it's also reminds me, this whole story reminds me of when there was another video game and there was a girl, like a young girl who was on the shoulders of the main character and people were sexualizing her.
Yes, I think I know what you're, like, I don't know the game or anything, but I do remember that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just like, why do the game characters need to be fuckable? I don't get
And
that.
it's actually so funny that just a normal, it's supposed to be, well, not even a normal woman. I mean, in the game, she's like a freaking crazy fighter, like, goddess, whatever.
Hmm.
It's like anytime just a normal looking woman is in a video game, it's like all of a sudden it's woke. Or I'm sorry, not even normal looking woman, a woman that's not overly sexualized, then all of a sudden it's woke. And it
Right.
wasn't just him saying, "Oh, this doesn't look like a good game to me." He was literally like, "We need to shame these companies so hard to know that this isn't okay and that them turning woke is not okay." And I'm just like,
Wow. Oh, the
it's
game
like you
is
guys are truly insufferable. Like I
truly,
cannot.
truly. That game, by the way, with the little girl is Pragmata.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I remember this. Yeah, it's unfortunate because the I feel like when I think of gamers, I think of my brother because he played video games like all throughout. Like he didn't play sports. He was not involved in like the theater program or whatever. He didn't like go and party. He was like a nerd and a gamer
hmm
and like that was his jam. And like he would never, and it feels like a moment of the loud minority, but the loud minority is being disgusting. And that guy, how many followers does he have? I feel like
Oh my
millions.
gosh. Yeah. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
he's like the most popular like gaming streamer. And it's yeah, it's weird because like I said, my husband plays a lot of video games. He um is obviously like has the same thoughts on politics and life as I do, but we talk about all the time like the issues within the gaming world, and it's I guess it's because it has big influencers like that too that
Hmm.
create such a problem in those spaces because they flock to those kind of people. And um what's crazy about this is I think the Trump admin knows this,
Hmm.
that young kids in video games tend to be, I don't know, brainwashed by like bigoted influencers or whatever might be contributing to that. Because I don't know if you saw this, but they were like advertising to gamers to like join the military by using like this ad that was basically like, come play Call of Duty, but in real life, they didn't say that, but it was like very much geared towards that. And I think it's because they know that space has a lot of people that probably agree with them. I don't know. It's messed up.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I don't like it. I think it's crazy to also look at that woman and be like, she's disgusting. Like, just say you hate women. Just say you hate women. Because you all think that by the time a woman's like 35, she's expired. Um,
Yeah, that's I think a huge part of it too, because he was like, well, I wouldn't have a problem with it if she looked like this, and he pulled up pictures of what looked like, I don't know, teenagers or like
Right.
early, very fresh adults. So it's so much it's very much part of the like he has a red-pilled audience, but he is literally the opposite of what red pillers say men should be, besides the wealth and fame part of it. So maybe that's why
Hmm.
he gets away with it. I don't know.
Yeah. I
It's
don't
weird.
know. I don't know. There was also I think it was New York Times, but let me double check. There was a Andrew Tate article that came out.
Oh, really?
Yes. Where the heck is it? I was just looking at it. Oh, New York Magazine. Um, and it's called Andrew Tate's Empire of Abuse. And
Mm.
yeah, so it goes into like all of this detail about the Tate brothers, about how they are traffickers and how they're like heroes to the MAGA movement. Um, so that is kind of encouraging. I'm happy that this conversation is still happening and that sort of like the head of all of it is having these profiles written. The unfortunate thing
Yeah,
is I don't really think people who are engaging with Andrew Tate's audience are reading,
you're right, right.
New
Um,
York Magazine
I really
or New
do feel
Yorker.
like Andrew Tate has kind of fallen off. I never hear about him anymore. And I
Hmm.
think that he had like his 15 minutes of fame with like the height of red pilled culture, which is obviously still very much a thing, but I don't I don't know. Is he like in the United States right now? Or is he in
No,
jail?
no.
Or
He's bopping around, I believe, Romania, or was he kicked out of Romania?
I think Romania is where he was like going to be in jail, and then I thought he came here, and then I don't know where he went. Maybe back to Romania, maybe it's fine now. I don't know.
I
But
think he's not coming back to the US because he has charges here. So if he came back here, they
oh, he
would,
has charges here.
yeah.
Oh, I don't think I knew that.
I believe so, if I remember correctly, that's the
What a
situation.
crazy concept that conservatives, vote for Donald Trump and the Trump admin, and then they personally bring sex traffickers here. Like Trump made sure that the Tate brothers came here specifically, like, oh, well, to Florida.
Right.
And it's like these are your conservative values, is bringing sex traffickers to our country on purpose?
Right.
That's
Right.
crazy. That's disgusting. And it's like that shows that you don't care about that kind of stuff,
No, they
like
don't give
at
a shit.
all.
No, they really don't. They don't care. It's all an illusion. And it's all an illusion to just keep this like, handful of people at the top and then they just manipulate everyone at the bottom. I saw
Yeah.
today that Donald Trump, his wealth has gone up by 34% in the past year.
I I can't even talk about all that, and like plus the thing, like I know it's not happening now, but his slush fund and stuff for January Sixers, it literally makes me so sick to my stomach.
Hmm.
Um, but one last thing I want to add is it's also so frustrating, and I'm sure you know what I'm talking about when I say this, is conservatives don't care about like real sex trafficking that happens, but they care about this like made up idea of like what sex trafficking is, where it's like very dramatic and like they're stealing a bunch of kids off the street.
Right.
They're stealing a bunch of like young white women and like all of this stuff. And I'm not saying nobody ever gets taken or whatever, but it's just these like very dramatized things. And then when real sex trafficking is happening, it's they don't care because
Right.
they need perfect victims and they don't look at a lot of those women as perfect victims. And it's just so frustrating to watch.
Um, it is incredibly frustrating to watch. And what was the other thing I was going to say? How about perfect victims? Oh gosh, I don't know. Frick, I lost it.
That's
Um,
okay.
well, we have some callers that are building up, and before we take them, I do have a theist. We have a theist caller, and before we take his call, I I posted a video on my Instagram in response to that video that was like going viral about
Ugh.
the man praying for PMS symptoms. And
I just
yeah.
God.
And so my video, his wife, he was praying for his wife who had gotten her period. And in the video, his wife is holding their infant while he's praying for her productivity.
If I if the on the first day of my period, my husband sat on my bed and started praying for me to be productive and to basically not be a bitch, I would lose my fucking mind. I would
One of the comments
actually
on that
lose my
video, one of the comments on that video was he better pray for a warm night because he's sleeping outside. I
No,
was like,
literally.
right.
No, genuinely. And what was even more disturbing is the little Bible classes he has with his baby where he's looking his baby in the face and like telling the baby they're a sinner and they're like what did he say exactly? Like your flesh deceives you and all of this. And then he gave examples of the baby going to the bathroom when they shouldn't and crying when they shouldn't. And I'm like, those aren't sinful actions. That's a child doing child things. They don't even have motor skills.
Oh
What are you
my
talking
God.
about?
Oh my God.
It's disturbing.
He's the
And I
worst.
think he knows it's over the top because I went to his account and he like turned off all his comments. So
Yeah. Well, he was getting apparently like a lot of um
pushback.
yeah, pushback on that video specifically. And my video was just here's a list of things that he could have done that would have helped her. And honestly, it was like pretty chill until the end where I said it was stupid to just be praying for her. Like that makes no sense. Why wouldn't you just help her? Like instead, you filmed a video of you. I don't care if he wants to pray for her, like whatever. If
Hmm.
that means something to you, then I'm happy that you want to do that. But to use that as your contribution when your wife is in pain, still holding your child, and you have at least 5 minutes because
Yeah.
you set up a tripod, you filmed you doing a prayer, and then you edited it and posted it. You could have used that five
Yeah,
minutes to do literally anything else to help her that would have actually helped in that moment.
exactly. And imagine the prayer just being like nice things, not about
Yeah.
basically, I want her to be more productive and not bitchy. I don't like,
Yeah.
he could have said nice things or
Right.
like prayed for nice things. Yeah, it was just
Yeah.
icky.
I heard someone say once that thoughts and prayers works as well as telling a depressed person to have a nice day. It's like,
Yeah, or
right.
I forget what it is, but I think it was Selena Gomez that was like to depress people or and don't she just said like don't be or something. I can't remember the meme, but yeah, it's the equivalent of like have you tried not being depressed?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like it's just so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous.
yeah.
Um, anyways, all right. Well, we do have a theist waiting in the wings. Are you ready to chat with them?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right. Let's pull in Chris, who's calling from Idaho. Hi, Chris.
Hey, how's it going? How you
Good.
guys
How are
doing?
Good.
you? Oh, you might be talking a little close to the microphone, maybe. It's like a little clippy.
What do you mean it's clippy?
There's like when you talk too close to the microphone, it makes this like really weird noise, but it
Like
might be okay.
like it's
Oh.
almost like my mouth is too close to it.
Yeah, yeah. If you could hold the phone like a tiny bit further away, that would be super
Okay,
helpful.
is that a little
It
bit
might
better?
just be it might just be his audio,
Okay.
I think, maybe. I
Okay.
think
We'll
The
see.
audio is a little bad.
Yeah, but it's okay. I think
Okay,
we'll be fine. Okay, Chris, what did you want to talk about today?
okay. Um, yeah, I guess it's just like I noticed that you guys have channels, and I'm sure a lot of it is for the controversy, and obviously controversy is going to draw a lot of attention and get you guys engagement on social media. So I mean, I understand that aspect of it, but it's like I just like an aggressive attack on Christian Jesus Christ. You know what I mean? Like, because
um
I mean, he even spoke that about, that, hey, the world hated me first, it's going to hate you too. You know what I mean? So, um, you know what I'm saying? So
Uh,
I guess
do you,
that's just, it's a question. You know what I mean? Like, well, why?
mm-hmm. Yep. Do you, can, like, so when you thought about this, us making the content that we do, which, Alyssa, I don't feel like you make really much content,
I
like,
don't,
on
yeah, I
the,
don't really lean so much personally into the religious stuff, largely because like my parents are religious and I don't have a personal, like, it's not personal to me to make that kind of content because I was not in like a fundamentalist religion or like a high control group. Like it just wasn't for me. And so I left. But I think, and I don't want to speak for Taylor, but I think for a lot of our other creators, they were part of religious groups that were extremely high control and fundamentalist. And so, it's not like your garden variety, like just go on Sundays and Christmas vibes. This is like a completely different thing, but I'll let Taylor speak to that.
um,
Yeah.
okay, so when you see that kind of content, you don't think people make it for any other reason than to be controversial? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I mean, okay. So from my point of view, because like I do music and stuff, so I'm not really, focused on that part, but it's like when I just know that controversy obviously brings in engagement. So you're going to get a lot of comments. You're going to get a lot of people, because it's like politics. It's the same thing with religion. There's going to be a lot of people that have, opinions, and they're very passionate about those opinions, right? So they're going to want to like kind of,
Um,
hey, like they disagree, or you know what I mean.
well,
So I mean, I would say
yeah.
that if I was a content creator doing religious stuff, that's what I would. I mean, I would do what you guys are doing, like obviously with religion and everything.
So you're right that controversy like helps people sometimes, but me compared to a lot of atheists, I'm very milk toast and I'm always like, don't call Christians stupid, like I'm making generalizations. I don't mean all people and all of this stuff. So I feel like if I was doing it for the attention, I would be way more I would be doing things on purpose to rage bait people. I'd be way more inflammatory, stuff like that. And I'm not because that's not the point. But it makes sense to me why people are passionate about it now more than ever, considering the chokehold Christian nationalism has on the United States right now, and it's impacting so many people. So it makes sense to me personally why there's such a big community around deconstruction.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I understand. So you're saying you're kind of doing it from your own, because I mean, you obviously came from Christianity, and you were once a Christian, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, and you're upset by the way that you were treated when you were a Christian. So, but
No. I want to clear that up. I actually had a okay experience in religion. Like there are things I look back and I'm like those teachings would be harmful to anybody, but I don't consider myself to have religious trauma and it's not about that. The reason I started even making this content is because how I watched how well, I realized how harmful things were to other people, not just myself, like the beliefs that were instilled in me, how that hurts other people. But on top of that, I watched how the MAGA movement became so intertwined with evangelicalism, and that stuff was there, but it just blew up into like a crazy monster. And it's very concerning that I feel like we are moving backwards. And that's why I started making content about it because a bunch of Christians around me started being some of the most hateful people I've ever seen. And I couldn't believe it was happening. I was very confused. Looking back, I shouldn't have been confused because there's just a lot of stuff not said out loud a lot of times in Christian circles, but they actually believe it or will, do certain things. So yeah, it's not really about me like being bitter or scarred from something. It's because I genuinely believe what I'm saying. And the entire reason I was able to, leave religion is because of other content creators who are talking about it and making it a normalized thing. I want to normalize leaving religion. That's a big thing for me. I don't care if I'm not trying to deconvert people, but I want people to be comfortable with leaving religion and then having a space where they can actually talk about their doubts or their criticisms of it. Because I don't think we have enough of those spaces where people can come together after leaving religion, because of a lot of us come from communities where every single person around us is a Christian and there's nobody to talk to about it and there's no place to say this stuff out loud.
Okay.
I think,
Well, I
Chris,
mean,
another thing I just want to
right.
add to is Christianity has an interesting marketing strategy. I live in Los Angeles. I was driving. Were we driving down Sunset? We were driving down like a main road here, and there was billboard after billboard after billboard about Jesus. And that to me is so often we hear people talking about how we like liberal folks are shoving our lifestyle in people's faces. We want everyone to be queer atheists with blue hair, like that whole garbage. When in reality, the only time I see like these like I see advertisements for Jesus all the time. It's the only religion that I ever see advertisements for. And I think, it is interesting. And part of many of the religions, I mean, evangelicals are literally called to evangelize, but many of the denominations of Christianity are called to also have mission trips and evangelize and, quote, save the people around them. So, that ideology is shared and distributed over and over and over again. And so if our response is, this doesn't make any sense, what this person is saying might be misogynist or like, um, I don't even know. I'm trying to think of other words. I'm at the end of the day, Chris. I'm getting a little fried. But if they're
Oh,
trying to like
you're
talk
good.
about if they're talking about a message in there, then I think it's appropriate to share. I think the other thing that's important to recognize too, and someone said this in the chat, is it wouldn't really make sense for any of us to say that people who are Christian are like stupid or dumb because like we all were one at some point. So, I don't think anyone is trying to attack a specific person because they are religious. It's the actions that they take in the name of their religion that are what we're targeting a lot of the time.
Okay. I see. So, I mean, but we don't have control over, obviously the politicians are going to use religion to their advantage, and it's all for selfish gain. So it's like they're basically just taking, you know, they're taking religion and using it for self-interest, and they don't, you know what I mean? So it's like it doesn't matter the core truths of that religion, or it is, it's like,
Well,
you understand, like anybody can take
yeah.
something positive and use it negatively. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, so I
Sure.
do I do agree that I think Trump himself and people around him do not give a single. I don't even think they're really Christians. I don't think they give a shit. But that doesn't change
Yeah,
the
they don't.
fact that Christians are a ton of evangelicals are participating in this and advocating for it and voting for it. So that's an issue. But I also have issue with people getting their morality from like wanting to one of my biggest issues is people wanting to take morals from the Bible and then put them onto society and say this is like what how we should make our laws and rules in society, because there's a lot in the actual Bible that I disagree with, which makes sense because it was written thousands of years ago for society that was like not like ours at all. We have progressed a ton. So of course there's going to be actual barbaric stuff like in the book itself, of how they treat
Yes.
each other and women and whatever. Um,
Okay.
so
You understand that like like there has to be an evolution of government and like you talk about the barbaric part. All that would have to happen for us to be where we are today. You understand? So it's like so
yeah, that's not
you're
what I'm,
if you're
that's
referring to
not,
like the Old Testament and everything, it's like the Bible is just like the truths and everything that are in the Bible are just adapting to that certain time, but they still stand true.
Okay, but don't
Does
you
that make sense
understand
or
how
not really?
silly that is? That we are just gonna then cherry pick the parts of the word that we keep and that are relevant now, and then leave the parts that we think are not appropriate, because now the way people live based on that logic is based on what humans want to accept from the Bible and what they don't. And so now it's no longer honoring the word of God, it's honoring the word of God as interpreted by the humans that choose to interpret it that specific way.
Okay, but Jesus came, okay, to basically put away the old ways of the law, and we kind of have, in the New Testament, like a new way to kind of function as a Christian. You understand, like, because think about like how he interacted with the Pharisees, and they were stuck in the tradition of the Old Testament, and he was trying to basically sway, hey, like this is I'm God. God is in the flesh. He is in person, on display for everybody to see it. This is how you're supposed to be.
But if don't you think that
mm,
if updates needed to be done to the Bible, wouldn't God just send down like a Jesus again? Why is he leaving it to people to figure out? Because we know that people are
Uh-huh.
sinful and flawed, and they're going to choose the thing that feels convenient to them. And for a long time, people use the Bible to justify slavery. Like there are things in the
Wait a
Bible
minute.
that people use to justify horrible things because they're human beings. Why wouldn't God just send down like another person?
Why would he send another Jesus? It's like it doesn't even. That's not logical. It's like why
it's
would
not
It's
you
not you under
keep?
logical.
you
It's
You
not
understand?
logical
not
Like,
to want
logical.
clarity.
well, no, no, no. I'm sorry. I didn't. I'm not insulting you. I didn't mean that. So what I mean is like if God is just and he wants to make a declaration, I mean, wouldn't it make sense? Hey, this is the way it goes. Follow me. If you don't, you know, ob- obviously we talked about the world around us is flawed, sinful. You even admitted it just a second ago. Um, it's
Hmm.
it's pretty fucked. So um, and with that being the case, then we have to align with Christ because he is a standard of perfection, and we're supposed to follow him. Like you understand? Like he just, I don't understand why that doesn't make sense to people. Like it's like
Okay,
you
so
guys have to
Jesus,
overcomplicate it. Go
no,
ahead.
we're not overcomplicating it. Jesus is such a small part of the Bible, number one. So, like, I don't understand when Christians act as if we should only listen to Jesus and ignore all the other parts of the Bible that is supposedly also a part of Jesus, God. And it doesn't it doesn't make a lot of sense why Jesus couldn't be more clear because he said he didn't come here to get rid of the old laws, and then he didn't give anybody a new set of laws. He didn't say anything about that. He's just like, "Okay,
Okay.
I'm dying for your
Wait
sins."
a
And then
second. Wait a second.
everybody there's no, hold on, I'm not done. Then there's tens of
Okay.
thousands of denominations because it's not clear what the right path is, quote unquote. That's the issue.
Okay. okay, I want to kind of go back a little bit because you're like Jesus is just like one like subcategory of the entire Bible. He's not even important. When he was in the
No,
Jordan being
that's not what I
baptized by
said.
John, what did
I said he's
what
a
did
small
God
part
say?
of the
He
Bible.
said, "This is my son. This is my son. Listen to him." So if that's what God is instructing us to do, to listen to Christ and follow him, why would we not do that? And he's obviously
So
very
why
important
would God and Jesus contradict each
Alyssa
other?
just said that she's driving by, she's in LA all the time, she's driving by billboards that are saying his name. It's because, hello, he's like trying to, it says in the last days there's going to be the outpouring of the Holy Spirit. Okay? Even though there's going to be a prevalence of evil, there's also going to be, declarations of his truth. And she just even alluded to that.
But
Are you saying that
okay.
God and Jesus contradict each other?
Also, did Jesus buy the billboard on Sunset? I want to know. What's the Jesus rate for a billboard?
Okay, that's like you're trying to. Okay, it's just a
I'm
display of his
joking with
name
you.
being shown to it's a multitude of people. Okay, it's just a very.
But that's
like,
people
it's
who
just
are purchasing
an
that
example
billboard. This is my point, though.
Okay,
It's
but
people purchasing the billboard. It's
those
people's
churches
intervention.
may have negative intentions to make money, like for own gain, but his name is still being announced for everybody. So the people that follow him, it says in the Bible that they're gonna, like he said, "My sheep know me, and I know them." So
Okay.
Sheep.
like, yeah, he referred to us as sheep. He's a shepherd.
Okay. If the
That's just an example, okay?
If the only thing we have of God that is the people and the religion and the book, why, like, what else do you expect people to base the religion off of, if not the people that are in the religion and the book that is written about the religion?
Okay, so I don't think I'm understanding your question. Can you kind of?
You were just kind of saying people are bad. We should focus on this part of the Bible about what Jesus said, but like, I don't understand what you mean by that. Are we supposed to ignore the other parts of the Bible?
Like what I just said about politics. Like, people are going to use it for self-interest, but it doesn't invalidate the truth of what it is. You understand, like, the actual structure of
I don't think that has any.
Regardless of, like, hey, like, some scumbag could use it and say, like, proclaim it, but it's like
that doesn't say anything to me about whether it's true or not. It shows me the very clear issues with applying a book
You're
that's
the one that just brought
of
up the people, Taylor.
I know, and I'm still talking about the people if you let me finish. The issue is why, like, I don't think them using religion to do whatever says anything about a truth claim. I think it's proof that we shouldn't use a Bible that's thousands of years old and apply it to our modern day politics or anything, really, because this is where it's gotten us, and people can pick and choose what they want. Just like when you pick and choose Jesus because it sounds nice, it sounds flowery, and then we have to forget about everything in the Old Testament where God was an absolute monster, and they're supposed to be the same person, but you seem like you're okay with that extreme contradiction.
Okay, well, I mean, what did you say here? I was just going to make a point because you were like, oh, dang it. I had something in my head, and okay, go ahead.
It seems like you want to just focus on Jesus because it's the part that doesn't sound so bad.
I'm focusing on Jesus because God in the New Testament said, "This is my beloved son, follow him."
Okay, and so do God
Jesus said, "I and my Father are one."
I don't need a Bible lesson. Do God and Jesus contradict each other?
Do they contradict each other?
Do they contradict each other? Why do you have to keep saying that he told us to follow
if he said,
Jesus?
"This is my son, listen to him," obviously they don't. So whatever.
What? Then why would he
Christ
need to say that? Why would he need to say that then?
Also, if you think that they don't contradict each other, then why are you so hell-bent on not including the Old Testament in any of this conversation? If you think that the messaging is consistent, it shouldn't matter, and you should be able to include the Old Testament in that as well. And also,
Okay.
for what it's worth, there are passages about slavery in the New Testament, by the way. There's also passage in the New Testament that says, "I do not permit a woman to teach or have authority over a man." Not cool. There's tons of little things in the New Testament too that are also not so hot. So I don't know. I think the other part of it too is ultimately, Chris, we don't believe that anything in the Bible happened. So it's kind of like a waste of time to go back and forth about what happened and what didn't happen. Like, and ultimately, you would have to convince us both that those things actually happened. And then beyond that, you'd have to convince us that God is a good person, because I don't think that he is. I think he's vengeful.
Okay.
I think he has a crazy ego. I think it's insane to create a community of people that you created. And the one rule is we have to be obsessed with you. Okay. Loser behavior.
Okay.
Like, I don't understand
wait a
that.
second. Wait a second. What you just said, that we would have to be obsessed with him. You're pointing this out from like a human perspective. You don't see this. See, that's what it is. There's a lack of spiritual understanding. When we're talking about a being that is the standard of all goodness,
you worship him.
Yeah.
You worship God. You can't worship any other gods. Like I think like
the
4 or 5
derivatives
of
of
the
his
10
nature
commandments.
are in our existence right now. Everything that is good is from God. That's what it says.
But you have no proof. You have no proof to determine that to be true. And if God created everything, that means he created the evil here as well. You don't get to like just decide what he created and what he didn't create.
Wait a second. No, that's not true. It says in the Bible, it does point at the fact that there is an adversary. We've already had this conversation. And there was a rebellion, and the angels were cast down on earth. Okay, so there is a conflict, a spiritual conflict that you guys are just overlooking completely.
Because it's made up, Chris. Like literally, it's made up.
No, it's not. It's not.
Yes, it is.
Then why should we believe it?
Then where is literally any proof?
Hey, wait a second. Why do you? Okay, you've even admitted. You said the world is so fucked. Why is everything not right? See,
because there is no right.
You know that there's like an ideal way of things to be, but they're not there.
But we create our societies and our morality and stuff like that. So of course we can have a preference. Of course we can try and get to places that, like, if we want our species to live longer or healthier lives or whatever, we can build towards that. I don't understand what's confusing about that.
Our behaviors are purely evolutionary, and you can look at like the animal kingdom. Animals kill each other all the time. It's not because they were possessed by Satan. It's because that's what their evolution has created for them. We are people who value having community, creating tribes out of safety, out of companionship. So we have found ways to lend to that, like being compassionate and empathetic towards each other. And we're not perfect at it. But I would rather live in a reality where the reason we're not perfect in that is because human beings are learning and they're figuring stuff out. And, you know, not everybody's going to make the right choice. A lot of people act out of hurt or defensiveness or whatever. That is reasoning that makes sense to me. What doesn't make sense to me is some being that is meant to be. Hold on. Hey. No. Don't tell me to hold on. You're interrupting me. Give me a second, Chris. Jeez Louise.
Okay.
You interrupted me.
Go ahead. Is this Alyssa or is this Taylor?
This is Alyssa.
Okay, I'm sorry, Alyssa. Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Uh-huh.
You know what? I lost my train of thought, so you can go ahead with whatever you were going to interrupt me with anyway. And I'm
Okay,
sure
well, we
actually
obviously
if
have
I ask
two.
you what I was if I ask you what I was talking about right then, you couldn't tell me what it is because I'm positive you were not listening because you were just about to talk over me,
I
which is unfortunate because you could actually
No,
have
no,
jogged
I
my
was
memory.
listening. I could tell you were saying that you were coming at it from the naturalistic perspective of we're basically, you know, animals and we're acting out of instinct, and that's what creates, the evil that we perceive as evil. But there's a contradiction because we have a book that goes back,
But
you know,
that book is
however
as
long it goes back.
valuable
Okay,
to me as
that
Harry
says we have an
Potter.
adversary. Go ahead.
But that's made up as far as I'm concerned because there is no proof for that to be true. Many of these stories were also written hundreds of years after they allegedly occurred by people who were not there. It's a game of telephone that somebody wrote down. Why would I believe any of that to be true? Why would I believe that to be
Okay.
true over Harry Potter? Literally.
Or over religious texts that are older than your religious text.
Okay. So we know that. Let me say this is kind of getting off topic a little bit, but everyone does something. Like if you break all their actions down to the micro level, they do it for love, and
Okay.
that's the essence of what God is. Okay. That's
But
the essence of
that's
what God
not,
is. So
but
every
the reason
action
why
that
we're
you
having the
take is
conversation,
basically to gain love. Go
That's
ahead.
not all it
but
is.
that has nothing to do with the reason why we were having this conversation where we backtracked to we don't believe anything in the Bible is
Okay.
real is because that is an important puzzle piece in all of this. Because you can tell me that God is love. I don't believe that God is real. So that stops the conversation.
Okay, but we have a book that states that's his character.
Okay,
We have a book that goes back in time and says we have an adversary. There's spiritual conflict.
So what about books that say something else?
Why do you think everybody looks to the Bible? Because there's relevance there.
Because you guys evangelize.
Because you evangelize.
Like Christianity was literally used to colonize. That's why your religion is so huge. You know, you like slaughtered people over this, right? Like, it's so crazy to me when people are like, yeah, Christianity is just so big because people know it's the truth. In America, do you know that you like took Native American children and made them learn about the Bible and your religion? Do you know you brought over slaves and made them go by your religion? You outlawed their religion, you used it to colonize the country. Like, people just didn't start believing because they're like, oh my gosh, this seems true. It was used to colonize people.
I think that if he researched the Crusades, it would be a really bad day.
Yeah, there's been people slaughtered. There's been people who they used the slave Bible to make it seem moral that they kept slaves. It's just, it's silly.
I'm gonna unmute you. Hold on, Chris.
Hello?
Okay, we can hear you now.
Oh, you guys put me on hold. Okay. Was that to prevent me from talking over you?
Yes.
It was. Okay. Look, I apologize.
It's fine. Go ahead.
The bottom line is we both want to know what the truth is. Like, you guys are on the show because you want to know what the truth is, right? So, I mean, why would we not, instead of coming at it from like a more defensive stance of like Christianity is this horrible thing, why not maybe consider, hey, maybe we just have a misinterpretation of what this is. But it's like, it is the truth, and it's all goodness. You know what I mean? And that's
because we have what
we should be pursuing in our life.
But we have no proof. We don't believe that it's true. And we have no reason to believe that it's true. That's why. You have decided that it's true. And those are different things.
Okay.
And then it is frustrating for people who watch, again, Christian nationalism, like, basically strangle our country, and then other Christians get to say, hey guys, you actually can't criticize my religion because that's not real Christianity. People do that every single time something horrible is done in the name of religion, so you evade all criticism. You can't receive any criticism because you just claim that it's not real Christianity. Do you see an issue with that? That's why these issues within the religion never get fixed, because they're never going to be addressed, because they think their religion is perfect and they're never going to take accountability for anything. And that's why we're trapped where we are now.
Okay, can I talk about what you're talking? You just said killing in the name of Christianity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like what happened in the Garden of Gethsemane when Peter cut one of the guy's ears off? Jesus basically said those who live by the sword will die by it.
So?
And he killed the guy.
Wait,
So
hold on.
He was making an example of. Go ahead.
And well, hold on. What about the examples he gave when he killed people? And then what about the examples he gave when he sent people to kill
Jesus
other
killed
people violently? God did. God, they're the same. Are they not the same entity to you? Do you not believe in the Holy Trinity?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So then it was God. So, like, are you a Jesus defender and then you don't defend God? I don't really understand what's happening here.
Okay. I already kind of touched on that earlier. I said that God said, "This is my beloved son. Listen to him." What was the example that Jesus gave
So,
us?
wait. No, hold on. So, what happened in the Old
Don't
Testament?
kill.
That doesn't matter. Like, this is
It
the
doesn't?
frustrating part, though. No, I'm saying you're basically saying that. It doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't. The thing is, this is another way to avoid accountability, and this is how it can keep having its grips on our society, is because you just get to say whatever you want about it. And say, no, actually, the parts where there's violence, the parts where Jesus does really fucked up stuff, actually, like, I actually don't have to answer to that. Do you see where the issue is? Because then people get to
Okay.
take those parts and use it however they want. So it doesn't really matter what you think about it.
Okay, so the references that you're talking about, like, what are you referring to in the Old Testament? I'll look into it.
I mean, there's a lot of examples. One example is when he told Moses and his army to go seek like vengeance on the Midianites, and they wiped out a whole city, and that included Moses specifically got mad at his soldiers for bringing back children and women, and he said slaughter them all except for the virgin women, which you can keep for yourselves, aka sex slaves. God does all sorts of brutal things in the Old Testament. God had David's wives raped on the streets because of things he did that God didn't like.
He had them raped?
Yes.
Is that the actual context of what you're talking? Like,
yes.
What context would justify that? What context would justify that?
You know what? I'm just saying.
Okay, well, I would look into that because it's pretty
there's always
disturbing.
A full story to the situation. There's
what?
Not just, we can't.
You understand
earlier. We can't just pull.
But
snippets,
you understand
okay?
how disturbing it is to hear someone say that God advised someone's wives or wife to be raped, and you say, "Well, what was the context?" Huh? What context would that be appropriate? I don't give a shit what she did.
Okay, this is the thing is, like, I'm not familiar with what she's talking about, so I would want to look it up before we even have a conversation about it. Because
that's fine. But asking about what the context is crazy.
If I can't read it for myself and take the whole thing into context about what's happening, then when you're telling me what you're saying, it's going to appear like you have some type of upper hand. You know,
no, but do you know what? Do you know what does give?
Is it possible that we just have an upper hand?
Yeah. Do you know what does give me the upper hand is because I know the messed up stuff in the Bible your God has done, and you don't. But you're advocating for him. Why are you saying someone's all good and all just and advocating and people should believe if you don't even know what he's done? that he wrote, that he had people write in his own book.
Can
Doesn't
you
that
give me
seem off?
huh?
Doesn't that seem off to
Can you
you?
give me the verses? Well, but that just goes back to my point. Like, I need to look at what you're talking about, okay, and read it for myself to see if things are being skewed, things are not.
You've never
You
heard the
understand?
story.
Like, the way
Wait,
that
hold on.
the
I
way
want to
that
ask
you're
something.
conveying it to me may not align with how it actually the situation is. You understand?
Are you aware of this? Are you not aware of the story of when God has his prophet kill David's baby because of what David did? Like, you've never heard that story before? I heard that story when I was a Christian.
Okay. Look.
I know they don't really like to talk about this one in Sunday school or at the podium because it's really fucked up, honestly. So I get why they kind of keep that one out of there. It makes God look like a absolute monster.
So, how would you? Okay, there's people that follow the Old Testament religion, Judaism, right, to a T. So, how do you think
They
like,
don't,
everything
to my
that you're
understanding,
saying? Do you think they just disregard that as well?
to my understanding, they don't think that stuff actually happened. I don't think Jewish people think that stuff actually happened. I could be wrong, but a
But
lot
I
of
also,
Okay.
but
like, I
like,
don't
who
know.
cares?
But I'm also
Who
not here to
cares?
stand
I
up for
don't.
them.
Yeah, like I don't
I
need to
know.
stand up for
That's kind of
them
getting off track a
either.
little bit, but
It's
okay.
it just
But yeah, I mean, it's. I don't know if you guys have other callers. If you want to move on, because I feel like our discussion's kind of going all over the place right now. But it's like, I think what I would leave you guys with is just the fact that this is the thing that I've noticed, like in every conversation I have with atheists, is you guys always go to slavery and the Old Testament and the negative things that happen. I had told you earlier that
Because that's what impacts us the most.
there had to be an evolution of time and things that were probably not pleasant to get to where we are
That's
today,
not my
right?
issue. I don't care about
Chris, you know
I
what
don't
really
care about things being shitty in our history. That's common sense. I know
Well,
that.
the
right.
fact
And
that
you know
that
what really grinds my gears,
morality has
Chris?
progressed to where it is today shows
You
that
know what
there's
really grinds my gears, Chris? Whenever people talk
what's that?
about Jeffrey Epstein, they always talk about the young girls that he was raping and manipulating and sex trafficking, and they never talk about how he was also a financier. And I think that that's so crazy. That's how you sound. By the way, in the last 1,000 years, there have been, based on historical estimates, roughly 10 to 15 million deaths at the hands of Christianity specifically because of crusades, because of the colonial era coming into into this country and forcing people to prescribe to Christianity. There's the Troubles in Northern Ireland. So like
Okay.
you act like this is a book that has also created good behaviors. There are tens of millions of people who are dead. That's the reason why that's why Christianity is so widespread, because they had to kill tens of millions of people to be able to do that.
Also, imagine your spouse is like the perfect spouse and then they go and murder somebody. Could you overlook that just because of the nice things they've done for you?
Okay. Well, you guys keep kind of going over a point that we talked about earlier in the conversation. I said people are going to take the name of God and they're going to pervert it and
That
use
is
it
a cop
for
out.
self-interest.
That is a cop out,
But
not to you.
no, it's not. That's
Yes,
not a
it
cop out.
is.
Does
Yes,
that
it is.
invalidate the
You're
truth of it?
saying
It doesn't.
you're saying that anything anybody does is bad isn't Christian, but when they do the positive things, they are Christian.
Yeah. Have you ever
Okay,
heard of the no
that all goes
Scotsman
back to the
fallacy?
source
Because that's what you're
and
doing right now.
of what Jesus spoke, and he said, "All who draw the sword will die by the sword." That's
I do
Matthew
keep
26:52.
And also, Chris, for what it's worth, like the reason you called in is because you wanted to know why we create the content that we do. And you'll notice that we have no interest in making content about people who are churchgoers, people like casual churchgoers, people who are, contributing to charities and helping other folks. We would never make content about that. We make content about the
Right.
people who are doing evil shit. And why shouldn't we? In some ways, actually, you should be supporting the content that we make because those are people that you're saying are not real Christians, and why shouldn't they be exposed?
Okay, I mean, I wasn't criticizing you. I was just trying to get an understanding of why you guys do what you do, and but I wasn't like, it wasn't a criticism when I called in. I think I was just trying to understand. You know what I mean?
I get it. I mean, I think ultimately it's not about people believing in the faith. It is about bad behavior that deserves to be called out.
And I'm all for that because it aligns with what, like Jesus spoke against people that used the name of God for self-interest. And so, I mean,
it aligns with part of your Bible. Yeah.
Criticize you for that.
It aligns with part of your Bible, not all of it, but I said it aligns with some of your Bible, not all of it.
Okay. Well, so the Old Testament and things that happened back in the, Israelite times and all that, that's you're going to bank on that as being the reason why you don't buy in, or why you don't.
It's
no. That's the reason.
Book.
That's the reason I think he's. That's not the reason. That's not the reason I don't believe. That's not the reason I don't believe. It's the reason I think he's a monster. Yeah, I know. Committing genocide once is like enough for me. I know that might be crazy. Yes, a monster. He's a literal monster in the Bible.
Somebody spoke against. Hey, don't live by the sword. Or don't
again, he committed violence earlier in the Bible. You want to pretend like that doesn't exist. It's absolutely ridiculous, especially if you believe in the Holy Trinity. If he is saying violence is bad, then he's contradicting himself, which means the God prior to Jesus was an immoral monster, which doesn't really line up with your religion.
Of the text that could be off. I would probably
it's not an interpretation, it's literally what the text says. Chris, I think earlier in the conversation,
You're gonna have to show me what you're referring to here.
Chris,
I think you just need to read the Old Testament.
Literally, earlier in the conversation, you said to us, well, now it makes it sound is crazy, by the way. Now it makes it sound like you have the upper hand. And I'm going to tell you, the reason why Taylor has an upper hand is because she has read the Bible many times. And I think that you should also read the Bible many times because you're not recognizing the stories that she's sharing. But you obviously haven't, not as many times as Taylor, because she can recall these stories and you have no idea what she's talking about, and they're in there. So maybe you need to reread.
I probably need to do read over the Old Testament and check out these verses that you're talking about, because I notice every time I call in, you guys fall back on these. So I am gonna study them and kind of take everything into the context and see, because
I think that's a good idea, because that's what
I think there might be a miss, like, you know what I mean? Like, you guys are not interpreting something correctly.
I mean,
I think it's a good idea.
The whole fact that you said it contradicts what Jesus taught, there can't be a contradiction there, because
you know what? I think it's a really good idea. I think it's a really good idea. You go read those contradictions and all of the stuff I'm talking about, because that's what jump started me no longer believing, because it didn't make any sense.
Okay, so you're saying the Old Testament is what convinced you not to believe anymore?
No,
correct?
All of it. It contradicts each other. It claims things happened when they didn't happen. There's all sorts of different things, and it sounds like it contradicts each other, because you keep saying the Bible says, you're talking as if the Bible is univocal, and the Bible says this. Well, it says something else over here. So you should go look into that, because those two things can't exist at the same time.
Okay. Well, I mean, I enjoyed the conversation. I have respect for you guys, what you do. But I mean, I respectfully disagree with, what you guys talk about, but
well, call back when you've read those stories, and then we can talk about how you feel.
I'll do that.
Still.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Bye, Chris.
All
Alrighty, guys.
right. Bye.
Have a good day. Okay.
You
You
too.
too.
All right. Talk to
Bye-bye.
you later.
Whew. All right. What a crazy way to start. At least Chris is like respectful on the calls.
Yeah, he tries.
He tries. But my favorite thing was when he went, well, now it sounds like you have the upper hand.
Does kind of sound like that. And it's it's frustrating because it's not like abnormal for Christians not to know those stories in the Bible because I didn't either. And like I said earlier, it makes sense they wouldn't bring this up in freaking Sunday school or at the pulpit. What are they gonna say? Like,
Right.
I mean,
mean,
the only one they really bring up is Noah's Ark, and they do that by just saying all the people were evil and they deserved it.
Yeah,
And that's good
I'm
enough.
actually having a moment of, I think I've said this before on Chewed Gum before. There are things that when I was young, I had like questions about, and in the moment, I was like, surely I'm dumb and I don't understand what is happening. And then I got older and I was like, oh no, I'm not dumb. I was just asking the right questions and no one else was asking these questions. And I distinctly remember hearing the story of Noah's Ark when I was in CCD. So I was in like, I don't know, elementary school and
You're
being
like, hold
like,
up.
literally, and being like, hold on, hold on. All of the women and children and all of the animals, like, and also men, because it's only Noah really who survives, right? So he flooded the whole earth. I remember thinking that and being like, okay, so I'm not loving that.
Yeah, and then like the biggest thing for me was like all of the animals getting on the ark. And the
Yeah.
crazy thing is, since a lot of young earth creationists like evangelicals don't believe in evolution, the amount of animals that would have to be on that ark is crazy because they can't just say, you know, they evolved and there's more species now because they evolved because they don't believe in evolution. So
Yeah.
that makes that a lot harder.
Yeah. Well, I also would like to know how they explain their loving God in the circumstance of Noah's Ark. And also, this is what I was just originally going to say, and I kind of lost my train of thought, admittedly. I also think it's so crazy that Noah's Ark is like a nursery
I know.
like theme.
It's just because of the animals, but it's horrifying
But
if
it's
you actually think
horrifying.
about it. It's like, here, little Jimmy, here's a play Noah's Ark, and it's like
Right.
play pretend and drowned all of the others. Like,
Right.
that's crazy.
Here's
And
Noah's Ark. If you were around at that time, you would have been drowned.
yes. And you know what's crazy? When I was younger, I used to have nightmares about a global flood and me not going like on the freaking boat. And I'm like, that's a horror
Yeah,
story
it's
to be
terrible.
telling kids that a bunch of people drowned.
Yeah, like it really is. It's so horrible. And I mean, to just defend that. And I'm thinking of like how of the stories they tell in Sunday school and they don't tell in Sunday school. I feel like I've probably shared this here too, but my mom does like a Bible study.
Yeah.
Although recently she has decided that she wants to take a step back from Bible study, and I think that's interesting.
That is interesting. Why do you think that is? Do you think she's like,
well, I think that there's some stuff that's not sitting so great with her. So we'll see how that evolves. But in the Bible study, it was specifically a group for women, and so it was her and a bunch of other ladies in her neighborhood, and they were using a book that it's like the Bible for women. I was
oh
like,
yeah,
first of all,
you did tell me this, and it was like it's supposed to cater to women, and that's weird. Yeah.
How degrading, first of
Yeah.
all, to think that these women can't just read the real Bible. That's
I always saw that
so
growing
insulting.
up.
Yeah.
That it was like gendered. It was super weird.
So weird. And you also are trusting that this publisher was going to interpret this in the right way and not in a favorable way. So we're already kind of like off to a bad start. But they also are obviously choosing verses that made sense, like that will drive them further into the faith. They're not going
Right.
to have discussions about about the like real stuff that's actually kind of horrifying. Like I didn't realize until recently I heard someone say that it's so interesting that the two main women in Jesus's life is his mom who's a virgin and Virgin Mary and Mary
Yeah.
Magdalene who's a prostitute and he so gratefully pardons her and spends his
Right.
time with her. Like isn't that
Yeah.
crazy?
It always bothers me that the most popular woman in the Bible is called the Virgin Mary. Like, that's the most interesting thing about her is that she's a virgin. Like, that's
Yeah.
nice. That kind of like sums it all up for me. Like, the view of women is just that fact alone. That
Yeah.
that is what she's admired for is being a virgin. And it's funny because especially I have a lot of Catholics argue with me, being like, no, she's actually known for X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, yeah, that's true after the Virgin Mary part. Like
Yes.
that's the most like otherwise why do you call her that? Why is that the
Mhm.
title of her? Like
Well,
it's all
it's not relevant. I've said this to my mom before too. This is a conversation that we've had where I've talked about like how purity culture exists in Christianity, and I've said, do you ever think about how weird it is that we call the Virgin Mary? Like
Mhm.
that's such a weird thing. Could you imagine if you
It's weird
introduced
as hell.
anyone else that way?
Like starting with her perceived sexual status, like
Right. Why are
that's
you thinking about her sex
yeah, and
life?
I've repeated this, but someone made a video that was like the Virgin Mary is the two things they think women should be, a virgin and a mother.
Yeah.
So she's like the ultimate woman. That's why she's the ultimate woman in the Bible, is because she gets to do both. She gets
Yeah.
to be so super pure and a virgin and be a mom. How great.
I know. Lucky her.
Uh, yeah, gross.
Okay, so we do have some more calls. Oh, we have another theist. Cool. Okay, you want to take another
Nice.
theist call?
Yes, I'm down.
All right. Okay, we have Matthew calling from Georgia. Hey, Matthew.
Hey, what's going on, y'all?
Hello.
Could you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So I was calling because I just joined the show, and I basically wanted to see why y'all deconstructed, and I wanted to tell y'all that I don't have any. So I'm a Christian. I don't have any like tangible physical evidence, but I wanted to tell y'all why I believe, and I want to see if that's what y'all believe. Like once before.
Wait, Matthew, I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt you. It is kind of hard to hear you now. Are we on speaker, maybe?
But I have my headphones in. Give me 1 second.
Okay. I just want to make sure that I hear what you're saying.
Is that better?
Yes, so much better.
Okay.
Okay,
So,
sorry.
Yeah, I was basically calling. I wanted to see why you guys deconstructed. I seen Taylor's. I think I seen one of Taylor's videos on her YouTube, but I don't have any tangible like physical evidence for the validity of a God or Jesus. But I wanted to tell you guys why I'm a Christian, and I wanted to see if what I believe is what you believed once before.
Okay.
Okay, so would you guys agree that the whole like crux, the purpose of religion is to basically see what happens after like we die, the afterlife?
I think it's one of the functions, but I don't.
Yeah, I think it's one of the
Yeah.
things is like wanting answers to death and dying and comfort and all of that.
Yeah.
hmm Okay, so what I believe, because objectively, would you guys agree that we're all gonna die, no matter Christian, atheist, Muslim, we're all gonna die one
Right.
day?
Yes.
So why I'm a Christian, because the Bible, it basically it's a record about somebody named Jesus who claimed to be God, and it says that we've all sinned. Like I know, I got sin. I done told lies. I never met somebody in my life that didn't tell lies. So the Bible says that the wages of sin is death. and we know that objectively we're going to die. And so basically, and it says, Jesus, who claimed to be God, he died on the cross, he was buried, he rose from the dead on the third day. And he says, if we believe in him, and that's the only prerequisite to be a Christian is to believe on him, then we'll be granted everlasting life. And then after you believe, I want to say one of my favorite gospel presentations, I want to say, is in Acts. I believe it's Acts 8. Give me 1 second. Let me find it. Where basically Peter, he was preaching to some Jews. He said, this Jesus whom you crucified, he rose from the dead. He showed himself to 500 people. And then as he was preaching to them, the Holy Spirit fell on them. So according to the scriptures, after you believe, you're sealed with the Holy Spirit until the day of redemption, basically. I just want to see if that's what you guys believe. If that's what you once believed.
Yeah.
Yeah, at one time, yes.
I mean, so according to the scriptures, you guys, I mean, I believe you guys are still saved. Like I'm what people would call a free gracer. I know a lot of Christians don't like that. And I know I'll probably make a lot of them mad, but that's what the Bible says.
But you know what's crazy about that too is like you making Christians mad because you want to be inclusive and you want other people to be saved is so like disappointing when you're talking about a community of people that preaches love as like the main, allegedly as the main thing. And so you doing that is far more
I think that has to do with your character in general, not your religion, because I would say, well, most modern day Christians would disagree with you. And that's, I mean, I think the Bible could be a hell of a lot more clear on things like that. And maybe we wouldn't, be where we are now, but what can you do?
Yeah, unfortunately. And then I think a lot of Christians don't understand that, okay, the believer, so Christians are what you call antinomian. I'm not afraid to, I'm labeled, people would label me an antinomian. That's what I am. I'm an antinomian. I'll say I'm an antinomian. But that's basically, you're not subject to any law. I think a lot of Christians think that to keep our salvation, we have to be good people. We have to keep the law, or even before like you were ever saved, that man can be justified by the law. But and I want to say in Romans 3 that the sole purpose of the law was to bring people to Jesus, was to point people to the Messiah. And throughout the whole Bible, no one was ever justified by the law. In the Old Testament, they were justified because they had the prophets, and they preached about this Messiah that was to come. While Jesus was there, they were justified by believing in this Messiah who's here. And this dispensation that we're in today, we're justified by believing in the Messiah who came. It was never by works. Like, no matter how good of a person, how moral you are, like, you're not good enough to make it into heaven.
What happens to people who have never heard about Christianity ever?
You know what? I don't have the answer for that. I can't even sit here and act like I do. But according to the Bible, it says that the gospel we preach, like, at all the ends of the earth. So I think maybe one day it will be preached to everybody, but I don't even have the answers for somebody who never heard of it.
Well, my other issue is that he cares so much about belief, but to my knowledge, I've never been able to just force myself to believe something. So to me, it feels like he's punishing people for something that's outside of their control. Because when I stopped believing in God, I still really wanted to believe at the time because I knew it would uproot a big part of my life, including my social life with, family and all that. I really did not want that to happen. But it did anyway because that's what convince my brain or didn't convince my brain. And so it's very bizarre to me if there are people who are not convinced God is real and they can't force themselves to believe God is real. They could lie, but they would be lying. They wouldn't be telling the truth. So why should they be punished for that?
I mean, so from my belief, I'm gonna talk to you guys like you're Christians, because according to the Bible, if you ever believe, you're still saved. So
But people who
do you
never
guys
believed,
like?
they were never convinced. What about those people who they were never convinced and they could never force themselves to believe no matter how bad they wanted to or no matter how bad they wanted to be included?
According to the scriptures, we all have sinned. People don't go to hell for being bad people. People go to hell because they don't believe. And
Right.
I mean, unfortunately, like
So
we all got sin.
so they are going to hell then for something outside of their control.
But I think if they like, so you saying if they just never heard the gospel
Well,
and
I gave two
but
scenarios.
they
So one, there are people who, will never hear about Christianity, but two, there are just people who will never be convinced of Christianity. Their brain, they could never get themselves to be convinced even if they wanted to. They never believed because they didn't have full control over what their brain is convinced about.
but what would you think would make them not be able to be convinced? Like, I don't get it.
Like they're not
Is it maybe like,
that because I mean, it's hard for me to generalize here, but a lot of people aren't convinced because they don't see any reason to believe. They don't like it doesn't make sense to them, or they feel like they need proof to believe because that's how they believe everything else. Whatever. There could be a multitude of reasons, but it comes down to the fact that they can't force themselves to believe in God. Like right? Because you can't, if I asked you to stop believing in God for 5 minutes, you couldn't just force yourself to do that, right?
I mean, I think I could.
Honestly, you
If I'm
really
being,
could, honestly. For 5 minutes, you could fully convince your brain completely and totally that God isn't real. That's not how my brain works, personally. Because if I'm like, okay, someone's holding a weapon to my head and they're like, Taylor, right now, believe that there's a giant monster right in front of you, or else I'm gonna kill you. No matter how hard I try to convince myself, I know a monster is not there. I'm not convinced it is. I don't have control over
I,
it, even if I want to
yeah,
believe
I
it.
understand that.
Yeah, so that's
But
what
I
bothers
think,
me about God is that it's like not about justice, it's not about anything. It's just about belief, which is something I think a lot of people can't control. I don't
but I
think
think,
anybody can control.
what really caused me to believe it wasn't that, God spoke to me. He never talked to me. He never showed himself to me. I think why I believe pretty much is because I looked in the mirror. It's just objectively we know we're going to die. Like we're a hopeless people, and I think Jesus came here basically not to make us good people, but him being God in the flesh, saying that okay, you guys are so bad, but I'm going to die in your place. And I just look in the mirror. That's what Christianity pretty much is for me. I just look in the mirror and I see that I need a
I
savior.
understand that.
If
I
there's
understand
any
that.
if there's
But
any saving to be done, then I need saving.
I understand liking the idea, but again, do you feel like it's good to send people to eternal torture for something they can't convince themselves of, even if they wanted to?
I think anybody could be convinced. I mean, we all can agree that we're all going to die, and I
Yeah,
think
that's not.
anybody could I think anybody could be convinced that they're objectively not a good person, and if there hypothetically is a heaven, we don't deserve to go there. And I think
I
that's the
don't.
whole
I
Again,
crux of it. It's
I
just
think
it,
I think Matthew, what you are describing feels like I mean, when we say this on the show all the time, that there's a difference between pursuing the truth and pursuing, something that feels good. And I think that if the reason is because like you as a person need to have the like the motivation and the mission of, you know, parts of the religion that appeal to you, or that having something after life is important to you, those things don't feel it kind of feels like the faith follows the convenience of things that are comfortable. And that's a
Hmm.
weird a weird balance to have. And like I think that it's the same reason why there's a lot of people who are like casual Christians when they're young, and then they reach like their 50s, and then all of a sudden, boy, do they love Jesus and God, because they can feel, I think they can feel their like, this is so, this is kind of like
Death.
dramatic, but yeah, they can feel their mortality a little bit. And they're like, shit,
Yeah.
I gotta get it together. And so then they start going to church all the time, and they're in Bible study, and they're doing the whole thing. But then even that feels like inauthentic to me, because it feels, and I'm not saying that this is you, but the people who do that, it feels like self-serving, you know? It's like, well, you're
Yeah.
in this because you want a good,
After life insurance.
yeah, yeah, afterlife insurance versus like, you know, I don't know.
Or like a
Yeah, I
pacifier,
get
something
that.
to keep you comfy when you die. I get why people believe it. That's not like complicated to me at all, but that isn't a reason as to why people should be convinced it's real or why people should believe it. Even if that's enough for some people, there's a lot of people it's not gonna do it.
So what would be your guys' like argument for the afterlife? What do you guys think happens after we die?
Girl,
Nothing.
nothing.
Just nothing.
Which, yeah, but
Yeah.
I think honestly, there are ways to look at it. It's a lot of it is about perspective. Like in some ways, when I think about people who really prioritize living their current life to favor what their afterlife is, like, and if you take the example of like a religious extremist, where like they deprive themselves of all of these things in their current, you know, life on earth because they believe it will serve them in the afterlife, it like that makes me sad, because you wasted so much of your time here for something that you don't actually know for sure is available to you. So I think the perspective shift that, you know, I have at least now is I want to make the most out of every day that I have here, every relationship I have here, like all of it. It means so much more to me, embracing that this is the one shot that I have. And if we get to the end and there is, you know, an afterlife, that's an incredible bonus. But I know that I didn't waste a single day here, you know, kind of sacrificing or not living the life that I wanted to in favor of this thing that I don't know is real, and I don't think it's real.
Yeah, I understand it. But would you guys agree to like, or what do you guys think about like the fact that would you guys agree that like all people have sin, that we're objectively, if there is an afterlife, heaven or hell, hypothetically, like we're objectively like bad people? What you guys
No.
think about that?
I don't. Well, first, I want to say I don't believe in sin because sin is specifically about God and what he thinks. I think people are flawed for sure, but no, I don't think people are inherently bad people. And this isn't to even give myself some kind of ego boost, but I mean it when I say this. I can't think of a time that I made a choice in my life that I did to be malicious or that I did to purposefully like really do some damage. Am I flawed? Yes. Have I said things that I regret? Yes. But I'm not out here being a villain. Like, I think most people in their day to day try and be the best versions of themselves they can because that improves their lives. So I definitely do not agree that people at their core are bad at all.
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say like people out here like when we think of bad, we think of like Hitler or something like that. But I'll say, and I'll never try to take the moral high ground with anybody. But would you agree that you maybe lied to somebody intentionally? I feel like we all got
Yeah.
somebody
Yes.
who hate us
So
for something we done to them. Ultimately,
yeah, and I don't think flaws make you a bad human. That's the difference is like I think it's just a part of being human is to be flawed. It's actually impossible to be perfect, even though I don't even know what perfect would mean. But no, I don't think lying or being flawed, making mistakes, I do not think that makes you a bad person. No.
I get that. I get that. I mean, well, like I say, I really don't have any like tangible physical evidence. God is. I never seen him. I don't know what he look like. I just look in the mirror. I know I'm gonna die one day, and I say people we need saving. If there's saving to be had, I think we need saving.
I think, listen, I don't have a problem with people finding comfort in the world, in the reality that they live in. And, if this gives you comfort and you believe it to be true, I don't have a problem with that whatsoever. And, I think the big thing is where we see Christianity seeping into our government, where we see Christianity affecting the lives of other people, like, for instance, the queer community. That's where we draw a line where, your personal salvation is your right. And I'm happy to support you in, living that life should you choose it. Um, so yeah, any of the work that we do and the things that we share are related to when it spills over. I think more than
Yeah,
when people have like an independent, or not independent, a personal faith. Because like I will fight for your right to be able to do that. But
yeah. I definitely don't
Right.
agree with Christian nationalism or any of that. I believe in the freedom of religion.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
and I think there wouldn't be, yeah, obviously as much division if people didn't try to force their religion onto other people, which causes obviously a lot of issues, if it changes laws and stuff. So I would say that's my biggest issue, but I will say I can't just believe in something because it gives me comfort. There's been times where the thought of an afterlife or seeing loved ones again does bring me comfort, but I don't believe in things just because they make me comfortable. My brain is convinced that nothing happens because that's what everything points to. We don't have proof or anything else. So whether I like it or not, that's what I'm
What points
convinced
to that
of.
though? What points to that nothing happens? I don't think anyone really knows.
Because I mean, a ton of people have had near-death experiences, and there are so many different ones that to me it points to our brains creating a safe space when we die. Because it doesn't. I mean, I guess in theory it could be everyone's afterlife that they want to come true comes true, but I think it's more likely that our brains are trying to comfort us when we're dying, and we see things that we want to see, and that's I
Yeah,
don't
because
know. We don't.
I mean I see what you're saying, but yeah, I would say like I think near death experience. I mean I don't really take that into account. I think that's subjective. Like you got some Christians who had near death experiences that said they went to heaven. Then you have like some people who have near death experiences and they say they seen nothing. I think that's just subjective.
Right, that's why I don't think anything happens, is because it's never solidified. I think if Christianity was true, a lot of like every single person with a near-death experience would, if this was like an objectively true thing, they would all have the same experience, and they don't at all.
I get that, but and then I think because the Bible it claims that we die because of sin. Would you guys be able to explain why we die? Why people die? I get it, we age and we get old and stuff, but why do we die?
I don't
Because
know.
I feel like our species, I don't know, has only evolved to live this long. There's really There's nothing else really behind that, in my opinion. Different species have different lifespans, and this is
Yeah.
ours because parts of our body start to give
you
up
you
or we
wouldn't
get a
grant that
disease.
you wouldn't grant that it's because of sin why we die
No,
ultimately.
absolutely not. No.
Okay. Well, I
Because
don't want to
do you
take up
think?
too much of y'all time, but
Okay.
if y'all do got enough time, could y'all like tell me why y'all ultimately deconstructed? If you can like summarize it, if y'all got the time.
I feel like for me, it just didn't feel true and it didn't feel good to be a part of. And so I think it was a weird thing because and I know a lot of people who've had this experience, funny enough, when I officially decided that I was like, you know what, I don't think this benefits me. This doesn't make me feel good. I'm out. I don't think any of this is true, etc. I had such a wave of relief just and like peace not having that be a part of my belief system. I think that for some people, religion gives them peace and it gives them reason and purpose. And for other people, that's not the case. And I was on the other side of that spectrum. And then as time went on and I spent more time, honestly, looking at like content creators like Jimmy, who is the person who started this whole channel, he was like a big part of my deconstruction journey because I would hear him talk about parts of the Bible that were contradictory, parts of the Bible that were didn't align with what I imagined the religion to be. So the more that I got into it, the more I was like, yeah, I think this is like really not for me.
Yeah, and I just got to a point where I was not convinced it was real. I believed, and then I started seeing flaws in things. I started coming across a bunch of contradictions, like I was talking about with the earlier caller. I also came across a lot of things where I'm like, okay, this God seems immoral too because of the stuff he's done in the Bible. But on top of that, it seemed like the Bible was so unclear, so mixed up, and I didn't think it was the word of God anymore. So if the Bible is no longer this perfect univocal piece of work, what is the point in believing it? And then I'm like, so even if God's real, I have no idea who they are. I have no idea what they want, and there's really no point in following anything because it doesn't make sense to me.
I get that. Do you guys would you guys agree that even younger people should think about their mortality more often? Because young people die too. We die young.
I don't necessarily know if that's a good thing for them or not. I feel like that's like a therapist question of like what people should be exposed to. It probably
Saying, but
depends on.
it's inevitable though.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I think it's important that young people learn about death for sure. Is that what you're asking?
I think that honestly that the people should be aware of like of their mortality for a lot of reasons. Like I think even um there's a part of it that comes down to motivating people to like actually live the life that they want to. Like your
Right.
life happens right now. There's no reason to put off the things that you want to do in life because you're not guaranteed another day. So live the life that you want to live now immediately. And so I think that there's like that version of it, absolutely, where I want people to be in touch with that part of life because I want people to do all of the things that they want to do.
Right.
That makes sense. Well, I don't want to keep y'all too much longer.
Well, thank you so much
Thanks
for calling, Matthew.
All right, thanks, y'all.
Have a good night. Bye.
Bye.
Oh my god, did Alyssa just yeet herself from the Zoom?
I was about to say is mine. I thought mine was like frozen. Anyways.
While we wait for her to figure that out.
Yeah. I liked Matthew though. He was really nice. He was really respectful, and I think maybe, possibly, he could be on his way to deconstructing. Who knows?
You never know. Also, I need you to know that I left the Zoom because I use Zoom at work now, and so I'm so used to being like, bye, and then leaving. And so that's exactly what I just did. So sorry about that.
Like a meeting being over?
Literally. I was like, bye,
That is
bye,
so
Matthew, and then
funny.
just press leave. Which, by the way, Zoom requires you to press leave, and then it's like end the meeting. I had to press leave twice, and it still was so on autopilot that I was like, bye.
Stop. That is so funny. That is so hilarious. I love that.
Sorry.
Okay, so if you ever just dip out, I know what happened.
Yes, exactly. I'm programmed to do that. Oh my God. Anyway,
Meeting's back on.
meeting's back on. Meeting is back on. Oh, this is a good time to remind you all that super chats of $5 or more will be read at the end of the show. So if you want to get a super chat in, please do so. And go to patreon.com/call-the-line to support this show and all of our other shows. And become a patron. It's really fun over there. We get to chat with you guys much more there than we do, I think, in the chats and in the comments and things. And I'm gonna pull up the line schedule because I never do that ahead of time because I always forget. Oh, there's like a piece of hair. Oh, I got it. It was like on the inside of my tooth. That was disgusting. Sorry. Anyway. Okay, sorry. I need to bookmark what the link is because every time in my head I go, oh, it's such a basic link. I'll remember that. And actually I've never remembered it a singular time.
It's okay. Me neither.
Lux, can you do me a favor and send me the link to the link to our scheduling thing? Because I have it on my phone, but it's going to take me a minute to find, and I would rather bookmark it immediately and have that up so I can read. I don't know that we have a LineCon scheduled right now. I think if I had to guess, Jimmy's just going through some stuff, recovering from that accident, and so I think he just needs a little time to get that together.
Has he been back since? Is he doing okay?
We did a podcast today, or no, yesterday, and he's getting back to normal, I think. But you know, it's the kind of, have you ever been in a car accident before?
No, but I am I feel like I'm irrational with my fear about car accidents, so
okay, well, I'm
like really afraid of them, but I've never been in one, I don't think.
They're scary. I mean, you really understand how heavy of machinery a car is.
Yeah.
Lux, I just bookmarked the link, so I will never have to ask you again. Thank you so much. But you realize how heavy and how scary cars actually are if you've been in an accident, and it also makes your body really sore.
Yeah.
So like, even if you ultimately are fine, which, you know, thank goodness Jimmy is ultimately mostly fine, the soreness, it just makes you feel like you have the freaking flu every day. It sucks.
That's crazy. And I lied. I was in an accident once, but it wasn't a big accident, but it was in an Uber. Someone hit our Uber. They like T-boned our Uber, and we were like, hello? And the guy came over and said, this isn't my fault, blah, blah. I stopped at the stop sign. I said, yeah, and you have to stay stopped until you can go, like, because the other people didn't. But yeah. But
that's crazy.
No, car accidents actually scared the living shit out of me. So the picture of his vehicle looked
brutal. Well, I have the schedule up, so I will go through what we have the rest of the week until we're back here next Tuesday. Tomorrow, the hang up at 6:00 with Justin. What did I call it? Destruction zone? I think I called it destruction zone. Deconstruction zone.
Destruction, Justin.
Yeah. I made him like a Bob the Builder, essentially. And Blitz PhD. Cool. Okay. I think that's a new character for me. Tomorrow at 6 p.m. on the Hang Up. TACIS at 2 p.m. with Lux and Riverboat Jack. Riverboat Jack someone was saying in the chat, made a video that they watched that they really liked. Gosh, if you in chat remember that you mentioned a Riverboat Jack video, put it in the chat again. On Friday, maybe a Cus I Wanna, but TBD based on how everything goes. On Saturday at 5 p.m., Devangelicals with Sarah and Dalton. On Sunday, the Sunday show at 1 p.m. with Matt and allegedly Ian. That's hilarious. Allegedly Ian. And the Sunday show after dark at 7 p.m. with Forrest and Paul. On 15th, which is next Monday, Skeptalk with Shannon Q. Oh my God, Shannon Q. I haven't seen that name pop up in a minute. And Forrest Valkai. And then we're back. We're back here
Yay.
with them. Whoop whoop. Yeah, so that is your week's programming. And yeah. Oh, someone in the chat said Alyssa doesn't know Dr. Blitz. No, y'all have to put me on.
I feel like Dr. Blitz is a lot of times on. Oh, I follow him on TikTok, but I don't think he's on the line like a lot. I don't know. I've seen him on here like maybe once or twice.
He's been a guest up until just now when we've just brought him on as a regular.
Okay.
Okay, got it. Well, I'll follow him now. I'll check him out. Oh wow, cool. Blitz PhD. Nice. Okay, and you know what's so crazy? I've never seen this person in my life.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's like our algorithms show us like whatever, and I've never seen him.
I feel like it makes sense to me because I feel like his specific niche isn't just like talking to religious people. I think like isn't he it's science? I don't know what kind of science. He's a physicist. Physicist?
Ooh, cool. Yeah, physics, a lefty, and a Trekkie. That's his bio. That's awesome. Very cool. Okay, well, that's exciting, and I'm sure it'll be a great show. All right, so I think we can take one, maybe two calls, depending on how long they go. Are we sending people off to another show after this?
It's Jovan and Ari on Calling It Now.
Amazing. Okay, cool. Okay, great. So let's take our next call. Do you have a preference of which one we take?
No, I'm interested to see which one you want to take.
Okay, obviously I want to take Brian's call because I have questions.
I was literally gonna say I feel like you would be interested in that one.
I am. I'm really interested in that one. And also, I think that first call might not be like really my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
That might be like a conversation for a different show, perhaps, but the second call.
That's for Alyssa.
That's for Alyssa. So I'm going to pull in Brian, who's calling from Canada, and he's an atheist. Hi, Brian.
Hello.
Hi. How's it going?
Hi. Okay, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah,
well, No, you go ahead. I was just going to ask what you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, sorry. I'm a little nervous here. It's my first time calling.
It's okay. No worries.
Okay, as you probably saw on my my question there, like, am I an incel?
Mm-hmm.
It's well, that's the thing. I mean, by the basic definition, I do kind of fit that. I mean, I've been very unsuccessful with relationships in my life, you know. And, well, you know, I've only been in one relationship, and that was about 27 years ago now. I mean, I've tried dating and stuff like that, but it always never seems to quite work out for me.
Right.
I've been to some of these incel websites, and there's some really fucked up shit there, you know. So I don't think I'm like that kind of person. But sorry, I'm just trying to compose my thoughts here. I'm sorry.
Oh, you are so fine. Don't worry. I'll say that being an incel is a self-identifying term. There are people who have not had sex yet and or haven't had sex in a long time, and they don't call themselves incels. And I think that part of it too is when people call themselves incels, they are by default taking the responsibility off of them completely because they're saying they're involuntarily celibate. Like it kind of has nothing to do with them.
Mhm.
And I'm sure you saw that in the forums. It's like a lot of just like blaming the community around them for creating a situation in which they are not
Mhm.
successful dating. Um,
Mhm.
so I think if you're asking the question, then no. Because people who are part
Yeah.
of that community, as you saw, it's scary over there.
Yeah, I feel like now it's
Yeah.
a loaded term. I feel like when people say incel now, it's not about just the sex aspect at all. Like
Mhm.
I would never call someone an incel for being a virgin or not having sex for a long time. The only people I refer to incels are people who are like really deep into that super toxic culture of basically hating women. I mean, there are people who have done violent crimes like in that space. All of those different things of like it kind of it's the red pill space basically. So I feel like it's a loaded term and much more than just your status sexually.
Mhm. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I spend a fair amount of time, kind of self-criticizing and stuff like that. I mean, I'm not exactly the most attractive person. I mean, I'm not horrendously ugly, but it's just, here's the thing. I kind of lost, it's the hair loss thing for me. It's a bit kind of a big thing. I mean, I started losing my hair when I was in my early 20s, and that's a really tough
Mhm.
blow to take, and especially when I've grown up with a lot of self-esteem issues.
Mhm. Yeah, I know. It's
And
such like a deeply emotional thing, and I totally get that. I will say, if you are on Reddit, a great forum that you should check out is r/is it time? And it's
mhm,
so great. If you haven't seen it yet, it's like honestly a really kind of like the happy place of the internet, in my opinion, because it's men who will take pictures of like what their hair situation is, and they'll ask in the
mhm,
Reddit, is it time? Basically, is it time to shave my head? Do I go baldy or do I
yeah,
hang on to what I have? And
right,
every single time they shave their head, they look awesome. Like they look younger, they look hotter. I swear. It's like honestly like an amazing phenomenon. And I'm glad that that forum exists because over and over again, they shave their head and everyone in the comments is like, yeah. So
mm.
that's
Well,
that's a better Reddit to look at, maybe.
yeah. I've actually already taken the plunge. I mean, well, I was in my mid 40s, and I just decided, you know what, just told my hair, you know what, you can't quit, you're fired, kind of thing, and I just shaved.
Yeah. Yeah, perfect. I mean, I think that that was probably a better choice. And I'm sure that honestly, you look younger and better with a shaved head. I can almost guarantee, and
Hmm.
I'm not looking at you.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
I
I
don't. I
think
think I look less bad with a shaved head. I just don't know if I look good. You know.
I
Yeah.
think, I mean, we've had this conversation before. I don't know how often you listen, but we had this conversation before with a couple of people who call in, particularly Andrew. I think we talked to him about this.
Oh yeah,
Or
I've heard him. I've heard him before.
okay, so he's like a hot mess, but
Yeah.
to put it lightly, he's had conversations with us before where he's said that um women care about looks too much and it makes it impossible for him to find a partner. Mind you, he's 19. I'm like, you
Mhm.
really? Oh my God. Or maybe he might be 20 now, whatever. He's very young. I'm like, this is a crazy time for you to draw a line. But we have this conversation with him all the time that there are people, like if you look at celebrities, there are people who are traditionally not attractive who find partners and they'll find hot partners. And so there's so much more to like what is attractive to people than what is physically attractive. Like for instance, like I always think of one time I was walking around in Soho and I saw Jonah Hill walking with this gorgeous, absolutely a supermodel woman. And first of all, he's really short, so he's holding her hand and it looked like a kid holding a balloon. I was like, this is crazy. But
Mhm.
he was with this woman who was beautiful. And obviously like he's an actor and so there's like status involved, but my point is more that your appearance is absolutely a factor in how people are attracted to you, but it's not the only one.
Yeah, and I also want to mention that my husband started losing his hair at like 24 and basically was losing it all, and he had to make a decision of whether he was going to try and grow it back with some kind of like, I forget what this stuff is, starts with an M, or shave it off. And he did end up, growing a decent amount of it back, but I did really see the toll it took on him, especially if it starts young. I know it can really take a hit on, self-esteem. So I definitely understand that struggle and maybe not feeling so confident.
Yeah. Well, and again, I mean, I've gone through a long history of rejection in the past. Like, I think it must be like 27 years now since. I mean, I kind of gave up around the pandemic. It just seems like I can meet women, and I can never seem to get out of the starting gate anymore. I either at the end of the day, they'll ghost me after the fact, or they'll say something like, "Well, you seem like a nice enough guy, but I just don't feel that way about you." And that's it. I mean, that just seems to be that's always what happens, and it gets extremely frustrating.
Yeah, I totally get that. And I know a lot of men are really frustrated with that same scenario. A lot of my male clients were coming to me for exactly that reason. And basically what we would do is a lot of work around building up some confidence, because the rejection is really fucking hard. And ultimately the thing that sucks about rejection is every person that you date until you meet the person you spend your life with, if that's what you choose to do, will involve some level of rejection. Like, it's all of them are not going to work out until it does. So I always think about that because I think it puts it into perspective. But part of it is working on your day-to-day confidence and really making that a priority. But a part of it is also making the life that you have full of things that you enjoy. Like, are you putting yourself in social situations where you're coming across other people? Are you engaging in hobbies? Are you, if you work from home, can you work from a coffee shop for an entire day just to like be in your environment? I think that helps. But it really comes down to, you just have to, unfortunately, get knocked down 7 times and get up 8. And it sucks for sure, but it's not impossible. And there's a great book I highly recommend. It's called Rejection Proof. And I've talked about this on Chewed Gum before, but it's a book about this man who every single day for 100 days, he exposes himself to an incrementally more intense version of rejection. And so what he finds when he like boils down his entire experience, what he finds is that like 90% of the time, the rejection that he experienced had nothing to do with him. And it was true when he, asked for a barista at Starbucks for an extra shot of a flavor and they didn't want to do it. And it was true when he went to, a marketing office and asked to be the CEO. It's like, well, no, we have a CEO. We're not hiring for that role. And also we don't know you. And what are you doing here? But that has nothing to do with him. Like it has all to do with, they want someone who they trust to run their company. And they also already have a CEO or whatever it is. So I would recommend that book because I think it is really helpful when kind of deciphering rejection and separating the story that we tell ourselves about why the rejection is happening from the truth, from what we really know. Because that was another conversation I had with clients a lot, which was, I was talking to this girl on Hinge and then she ghosted me. And so I think, she definitely just like thinks I'm ugly and thinks I'm boring and whatever. And it's like, well, no, you actually don't know any of that. You have no idea. If you want to be really kind to yourself, you could tell yourself, I think she probably just got really busy and she doesn't know me that well, so I was not a priority to her, and that's okay. Or maybe she had a tragic life event or whatever it is. The separation of the story you're telling yourself and the truth, the real truth of what you know can be really, really helpful. But in the meantime, make your life full with things that you enjoy because people want to be around other people who have full and like, vibrant lives.
Yeah, I guess I'll have to set about getting a life then.
Well, but you know what? It's funny because so actually I'll ask you, what's your like day-to-day life like? Like do you engage in hobbies? Do you socialize a lot or are you sort of homebody vibes?
I tend to be a bit of a homebody. I mean, ever since the pandemic, I haven't really. Well, it's kind of a long story. Like a few years ago, I went through a job change and everything, so a lot of things got turned upside down in my life. I've got a work from home job right now,
Mm-hmm.
and for socializing, I have a small group of friends. You know, just
Mm-hmm.
usually we just sit around. I'm kind of a nerd. Sit around playing Dungeons and Dragons and stuff like that. I'm into sci-fi and comics and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And I go to the conventions every now and then.
Okay. So
That's fun.
Yeah.
I also, there's no judgment here. I go to Pokemon card shows because I'm into that, and my husband is a nerd, and I feel like a nerd too. But I love going to those shows because I end up talking to a decent amount of people. But I wanted to say I feel your pain from working, like doing your work from home. I have had this struggle for the past like 6 months where I feel very awkward socially, and I think it's because a lot of my social interactions are online, not with my friends and but I guess people outside of that. And I think sometimes working from home can like really mess with your head. At least I've had that experience where you have to be super intentional about being more outgoing because I'm introverted, so it feels like a chore sometimes. But I've been working on making more casual conversation because even though it's painful, it'll just, in my opinion, it kind of gets worse and more scary the longer you put it off. But friends are
Yes.
also a good like practicing ground. Like I feel as though the more I hang out with my friends, the less awkward I feel about around literally everybody else because I'm just getting in the flow of like socializing. And I don't know, I feel like playing D&D and stuff is great.
There was someone in the chat who said their parents. Now I'm thinking about it. I'm like, wow, whoever is in the chat is either young or I am old. Their parents met on D&D, which is so funny. So you just never know when it's gonna find you. And I think, just continuing to put yourself out there. It sounds like you are putting yourself in social situations, and so I think just continuing that. And ultimately, it's hard to give advice without, having like an individual conversation with you. So what I would recommend is get that book rejection proof. If you're not into reading, you can listen to the audiobook, or I'm sure someone has a summary of it somewhere, but just so you get the gist, because I do think it is like a massively helpful book when deciphering rejection and separating yourself from how it feels. And then the other thing I would recommend is look into getting a sex therapist. And I know it feels like sort of counterintuitive because you're like, well, I'm not having any, so why would I need a sex therapist? But they are specially trained on all types of sexuality, and they also are trained to be more sex positive. Like if you were to see a therapist, there's a joke in like the therapy side of things where they'll say, too much sex is more sex than your therapist is having, because there's like some level of judgment there. And people who are sex therapists are very well versed in these kinds of conversations too. And so it might just be helpful because it can give you ongoing support. Like, why not have someone that you talk to, every other week or month or whatever, just to be like, okay, touching base, this is what I tried and this is how it went and whatever. I think that would help.
I also think maybe an option could be playing D&D outside of your friend group, finding a place to play locally, because I know
Ooh.
a lot of the like I go to a lot of, card shops slash gaming shops, whatever, and there are a bunch of people always meeting each other for the first time, and you'd be surprised how many people in your area probably want to be playing D&D, but they go to something like that because they don't have people to play with. I know I've considered it before because I started playing D&D and then a bunch of people dropped out, and I'm like, I low-key want to play, so that's something I've considered before, but I don't know. I would look into that because it could be fun because you're actually doing something, it's not awkward. You're like, well, not saying it's not awkward at all, but you're doing something you like and they
Yeah.
like too, so.
Also, there's literally
Yeah.
someone in the chat named Alice who's like, "Oh my God, I will freaking date him." So your person is out there, and also might be in our chat, but your person is
Yeah, who
out
knows?
there. Yeah, and it's just gonna take a little. Sometimes it takes people more time, and you know, you might be one of those people, but you can get support and try different things. Just don't give up on the process. I know it sucks. It sucks. But it's still worth doing because the end goal can be really special. And yeah.
And I think you already have a one up by having a hobby, honestly. Because
Yes,
again,
100%.
yeah, like connecting and meeting new
Yeah.
people is much easier if you have a hobby to do that through. So that's good that you have that.
Yep. And I have been seeing a counselor from my doctor's office, and that
Oh,
helps
perfect.
somewhat.
Yeah, I'm
Good.
sure.
But the thing is, I have some severe self-esteem problems. I mean, there's a part of me that really thinks I am inferior to other people,
Mm,
I've
Yeah.
always been awkward. I've had, I don't know, like there's this thing in high school when I was in 10th grade English, and this teacher was obsessed with having the class do oral presentations on their own in front of the class, and this would be like every week.
mm,
And it was really terrifying for me. I'd always be nervous. People always be laughing at me. And I
mm.
think it's experiences like that really, really drive that kind of thing deep into my core. That there's just something wrong with me.
When did you say that was? Like, what age
Like
is?
it's about 10th grade English. So I was like 15-ish, I guess.
I will say, I feel like people are especially cruel in high school and stuff. I know so many
Yeah.
people who were
Mhm.
like cruel in high school and grew out of that, and they were like, "Damn, I was awful." But again, I do feel like when not to keep bringing this up, but when I have gone to a couple card shows, I do feel like there are so many really accepting people there who aren't the type to make fun of people because it's very like there are all sorts of different people that are into the hobby that, like, I don't know. I feel like that sometimes comes with the territory of things, and those people are all choosing to be there. High school's kind of different. I mean, you have to be in class with people that are, maybe they're awful, maybe you guys don't like each other, but I think you're way more likely to run into people you like, doing stuff that you love.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And that also is like a really traumatizing experience. And there are ways to work through how you processed that. And so I think I'm happy you're seeing a counselor, but I think there are other, like, not all mental health professionals are the same. And so I think that there might be opportunity for you there to seek a therapist. Maybe somebody in the chat recommended EMDR. That's like a very intensive form of therapy, but the your therapist should be able to make progress with you. And if you feel like they're not making progress with you, they might not be the right fit for what you need right now. So I would recommend maybe looking into a different therapist or a different therapy method and see if you can really dig down into that stuff. Because really, the way that we act is like a reflection of all of these little events. Like in that moment that you had this experience, to some people it might seem silly, but that developed a way that you perceive yourself, because that it's all of these years later, and when you think about how you see yourself, that is one of the defining events. So, and they say too that trauma is not defined by the event, it's defined by how you processed it. And so for you, this sounds like it is a, maybe a little T, but a traumatic event for you. And you deserve to have, some support in unpacking that. Like, you shouldn't need to do that on your own. And it obviously is very important to like your whole story.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
yeah, that's what I would say. And
one last
go ahead.
I was just going to say one last thing. If you want to start with baby steps, I know maybe you already know this, but I know there are like Discords and stuff for games. And I actually did join Discord once because I got very hyper fixated on playing Mario Party. This is so embarrassing. I would play it.
Okay.
I would play it every night for like hours, and my husband's like, I am not playing this much Mario Party, so I found people online to play with. So if you want to do baby steps, I recommend that because that was fun for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, I think I covered everything I wanted to cover. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for
calling.
calling.
Very much for taking my call. Yeah.
Of course.
Thanks for calling.
Call back anytime.
Okay.
Keep us updated on your
Sure.
journey.
Okay.
All right. Have a good
Okay.
All right.
one.
Okay.
Bye, Brian.
Okay.
Bye.
Yeah. Okay. Bye. Thank you.
I like how at the end of the call it was us just saying okay to each other.
Okay.
Okay. Someone in the chat said like can't be diagnosing on. No one diagnosed anyone. Chill out.
What would we diagnose him with?
I don't know. I would like to know what I diagnosed him with as well.
Interesting. Okay.
Anyway, I hope that he seeks out methods that are more impactful for him, because it's not all created the same. So
Yeah.
anyway, and I hope that Brian also leans into our wonderful community, because the Discord is fun.
Yeah,
And
I
the
was about to
chat
say
is
that too.
fun.
And I saw someone in chat say that that's how they met their spouse or their partner is through D&D, because they D&D together. And I'm telling you, I hear stories like that all the time when it comes to like the gaming community. And so I feel like that's a really good outlet. That's why I was like harping so much on it. But
yeah. No, I think that was a great suggestion. Okay. Well, someone in the chat was trying to diagnose the person on the call. Got it. All right, let's get into some super chats. We have 11 minutes, so we don't have a ton of time. So let's get into it. Oh, right.
Yes. Sorry.
Okay.
I was like, I was expecting a message earlier to be like,
sorry
to deal with these callers. We're so sorry,
know, I'm
Kyle
sorry.
and Marcos. We ran out of time today. We appreciate you.
Yes, I'm so sorry
Sorry,
that we
guys.
kept you on hold too. I'm sorry about that. Thank you for hanging in there, and hopefully we get to your calls next time. Although I think Kyle's call, I think another show might be better for that one anyway. But in any case. All right, well, $20 from Carl Dark. Hello to all my people out there celebrating Pride Month. Just a reminder, save some energy next month. Next month is Wrath. Okay.
what
Good
is
to know.
next month?
I assume there's a Wrath that's coming. I don't know.
It's just
Carly.
another deadly sin, you know?
Another deadly sin.
And it's when we have our revenge.
Yes.
Nice.
Right. Thank you, Carl, for the reminder and for the $20.
$5 from the Atheist Mechanic. The new God of War looks great. Kratos had his story completed. There's nothing more to add. Also, from what I've seen, Kratos loves his wife. So people who actually play the game hating on her doesn't make a lot of sense.
So ridiculous. $20 $20 from Carl Dark. Dear all, the people in a sorry, I read that in the most ridiculous way. Dear all the people in a polycule, I just gotta know which TTRPG you're playing. Who's the game master, dungeon master? What's the party makeup? What is TT? I'm assuming role play game, but TT, I don't know.
Tabletop.
Tabletop. Cool.
Mm.
Thank you, Lux. Okay, well, someone let Carl know in the chat.
$5 from Michelle from I know it says Oklahoma.
I think it's just Oklahoma.
I don't know why the Y's tripped me up. Anyways, it sounds like men who play video games are easily triggered snowflakes. Can we get these little beaches a safe space? No women allowed. Yeah, some of them can be. Some of them are great.
Yeah. $5 from Coffee Mom. Prayer is good for one thing. Make the person who's praying feel better about choosing to pray instead of doing literally anything to actually help. I'll agree. Agree.
Yeah, that can be the case pretty often. $5 from Hank says, Chris from Idaho has been calling atheist show since Matt D was on. Is it the Atheist Experience? Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Or no,
I assume
AP.
so.
A something. I don't know. Atheist something. And he hasn't learned a single thing in that time. Wow.
You were right the first time. It's the Atheist Experience,
Oh, okay, cool.
which was forever ago.
Yeah.
Okay, one question. There were two like super popular shows at that time. Was it the Atheist Experience? And I swear to God, there was one other one that I get confused. But maybe I'm tripping. I don't know.
I mean, I used to watch one called Talk Heathen a lot. That was still the atheist community of Austin, though.
Oh, I don't know what I'm thinking of.
Maybe someone in chat knows. $10 from Carl Dark. Carl, I'm getting all of your chats. Marxist, Leninism. Oh, I feel like there's probably a way I was supposed to read that, and I don't know how. So I'm sorry, but thank you so much.
$5 from Chigzaru. Thank you, ANT, for so eloquently, truthfully responding to the pervasiveness of Christian nationalism and the blatant advertisement of it to Americans. You're welcome.
Thank you for thanking us. That's really nice. $10. Carl, it's me and you, buddy, today. $10 from Carl Dark.
You guys are locked in.
Yes, that was a Thundercats reference. Oh, you know what? I remember seeing that, and I've never seen Thundercats. I'm so sorry.
Me neither.
I knew I was reading something wrong. You knew it.
$5 from the Atheist Mechanic. There is no good from God. God isn't good. It's all made up nonsense.
Yeah, unfortunate. $5 from Kyle's mom. Man was created in God's image. Man as a race kind of sucks. We should not be listening to that guy. Right.
Yeah, exactly. $5 from Kelly Bean. Payment because you had to talk to Chris. Well, thanks.
Wow, that's really nice and very generous. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you, Kelly.
Taylor said 5, but I want this person to know that we know that it's $50. Thank you.
Kelly, I'm sorry, Kelly Bean. I'm so sorry. Stop, my face is gonna turn red. I'm so embarrassed.
$5 for the Atheist Mechanic. The Bible is not truth in any sense. Your book is written on a foundation of lies, Chris. I know. It always kind of makes me laugh when people use. It's like that meme that Promise posted a while ago, where it's like a power strip and it's plugged into itself. That's what it feels
exactly
like.
What it is.
But yeah, so I agree. Thank you so much, Atheist Mechanic.
And that one was $5.
And that one was $5.
I swear I kept seeing $5, so that's just what I said. See, here's another $5. Okay, $5 from SJL. Catholics just call all the horrible parts of the Bible parables. It's only the message that's important, and ignore the message is evil. Yeah, exactly. It's frustrating. I feel like it's not very honest.
Yeah. Well, and like even down to the 10 Commandments, aren't like 4 It's either 4 or 6 of them are just
Yeah,
about
half of them
himself.
are about ego. Yeah.
So whatever. $5 from Joshua Everett. Thanks for inviting us to the party. These are my friends, the Virgin Mary and the not Virgin Jennifer. I'll sell you either for a few coins. Dead ass. That's what they sound like. That is what they sound like.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
$20 from Misty Nipples. Theus always bringing up okay, so when explaining God. Wait, what? Am I missing something? When explaining God, I need nacho stat. Hashtag OKSO. Hashtag love you, Sin. I feel like I missed a joke.
Taylor, something is happening. I don't know what okay so means.
I think this
Lux,
person is
any
making
idea?
fun of when people are leading into their point and they go, okay, so
That's hysterical. Okay, Misty Nipples. My husband just heard me say that. He's like, loved that. Thank you so much. £5 for Mystic Mind Analysis. I've suffered a lot with suicide. Oh, I'm an idiot.
I'm
I'm an
laughing
idiot.
because this is
He's
literally
dying.
this is literally me. Like okay. All right. I'm laughing because I'm glad I'm just not alone. Okay.
You literally, he's like, Kevin is keeled over laughing. Jeez. Listen, I'm doing my best. That was
Ew.
horrible. Oh my God, £5 for Mystic Mind Analysis. I've suffered with a lot from you know what, ideation, but I've learned to love living in the moment, enriching the people around me. Like, you can't get it together. You do deserve love. I agree. This is such a beautiful message, and I'm so sorry that I messed it up in the beginning because it's such a beautiful message, and I appreciate it so much.
I feel like that's also what made me laugh is I knew I shouldn't be laughing. So
Because it's such a, like, yeah.
it's like laughing at Jimmy's
Yeah.
scream. And you're like, I feel bad for doing it, but I'm going
No.
to laugh a lot.
Yes, exactly.
Wait, Jimmy scream. What do you mean?
He's got the sound bite from after he hit the truck.
Yeah.
No way.
Yes.
I need to hear
It's on the
that. I mean, that's
soundboard,
messed
yeah.
up,
You
but
should listen to Calling It Now from like 2 days after.
it's on the soundboard?
Yeah.
That, oh my gosh, that's so beautiful. I love that. I'm gonna go find that. Okay, $5 from Mo Spider-Man. I appreciate how honest and informative the hosts are on Chew Gum. Halloween is about 4 months away. Moi. Hashtag make Alyssa Wazowski again.
Oh my God.
Oh,
Mawa is make Alyssa Wazowski again. Oh my God.
We didn't dress up for Halloween last year.
Okay. I
want to
my Mike
dress up for
Wazowski.
Halloween.
It's so fun. We'll do it this year.
Okay, good.
It's so fun. But maybe I need a different blow up costume because I've brought Mike Wazowski to the scene before. Maybe I'll bring him back for like a different situation. It's hard to do the show with the costume on though. I had to bring the microphone.
I know, I'm trying to imagine.
Yeah,
that.
I had to bring the microphone into the costume and do it inside of the balloon, basically.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
$4.99 from Silly Spaghetti. I haven't been here in a long time. I'm happy I caught a show. We're so happy you caught a show too. Thanks for being here.
Five something. Max V. Brian, do you blame women for your situation? If the answer is yes, then you qualify as an incel. Yeah, it didn't sound like that.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think there's like an
very sweet.
alarming thing. Oh shit, it's 6:30. I think people just get nervous. So, you know, Brian's a good guy. $5 from Lord Degree. I wish you guys were on when I'm not at work. I'd love to call in. And Taylor, as a fellow atheist with depression, I want to say that you're awesome. I think most atheists are depressed, if I'm being so honest.
What's up with that?
Yeah. Well, what's up with that?
It's because we're living in sinful ways. $10 from Domestic. Thank you both for your thought on incels and helping Brian. Yes, I enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thanks. $5 from Silly Spaghetti. Oh my God, I've been gone so long. I didn't know Alyssa got married. Congratulations. Thank you so much. We kind of went rogue, so that's okay.
They went rogue. They went to the Rainforest Cafe.
We sure did.
$5 from Lord Degree. Alyssa, I also get so much insight from you about being more open about sexuality and body positivity. You're awesome too. Fuck the patriarchy.
Thank you so much. Thank you guys so much for watching. You're going to get redirected to Arya and Jovan, so hang here so you can watch that show. Thank you, Lux, for producing, and Dragon for screening our calls, and all of our mods in the chat. And thank you for Taylor, whose hair looks really good today.
Yay, at least I have that going for me. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And we'll catch you next Tuesday. Right back here.
I can't wait to hear Jimmy scream.
Oh my god. Be prepared. Actually, it's gonna scare you because the.
Oh yeah, I'm scared of car accidents. Never mind.